Hi, hello. I'm starting my first project of 2025, and it is making a shirt out of this gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous linen that I found. In my last video, I referenced it. I had bought the blue version of this to make an apron for my daughter, and I just loved it so much. I bought a couple yards for myself. So it's really weighty and soft and just stunning. So I want to do a really good job. So I'm making a muslin first before I do anything. I'm cobbling together my own pattern idea here. My inspiration, I'll put up a photo, is this top by the designer Gary Graham. I learned of him on a Project Runway many, many years ago, and I just love everything that he does. So that's the general idea behind it. I thought about making this shirt, that the Kenny shirt, I believe is what it's called. Again, I'll put links for everything below. I love this shirt and I wear it a lot, but I was worried that it might, with this fabric, with the floral and the linen, actually like push too far into feminine, too I don't know, I want to say cute to something. Didn't feel right. I've talked about this in other videos. There's this concept called the 3 words, and what are the words that you use to style yourself and to pick out clothes and to make decisions. And my 3 words are: my everyday word is casual chic, my aspirational word is dramatic, and the way I want to feel is feminine. That is one of my words, but I thought with the big collar and the ruffle, also with the floral, I just thought it might be too much. So I'm going in this direction. So what I did is lay down the bodice for the Taya boho blouse, which I really like the way that fits, and the neckline for the cuff top. And I laid those down on top of each other and began to cut out and create a pattern. And then I cut out muslin and I've started piecing it together. And I should introduce myself. Hi, I'm Linda. Hi. I'm an actor and writer living in New York, and I love fashion and I love sewing. And it's just become such a wonderful creative outlet for me in my life to make my own clothes and to try to make the clothes that match up with what I'm thinking of, what I really want. And I love making these videos and sharing it with you all. So here I am. Okay, so what I've done, put on my glasses so I can see what I'm looking at, was initially create the sleeve. And the sleeve from the Taya boho pattern was very close to what I wanted. So I cut that out. I attached it to make sure that the sleeve hole fit the hole on the bodice, the made up bodice that I created, and I had to adjust it a little, but then I put them together. But then the shoulder was so wide, it was sloping off in a really weird looking way. So I took the sleeve off, I reduced the shoulder by about half, and that looks good now. But I've still got too much going on here around the bust. I put it on myself and it's just not looking right. So now I'm at the stage where I've pinned this down. I'm going to take this off. And I think what I'm going to have to do, oh, I also took in a good inch on either side, so 2 inches right here. And I've got to make sure that I can get it over my head. I can't get it too snug. So I think the next thing I need to do is probably adjust the pattern because I've made so many small adjustments here. I need to readjust the paper pattern and then cut another muslin and put it together before I actually cut into the fabric. So let me move on to that step. Also, what I started doing last night, P.S., while I was watching A Gentleman in Moscow, a fantastic series on Amazon. I read the book a few years ago, and the series is wonderful and really true to the book, historical fiction. I started cutting out these strips of some scraps of black linen I have so I can make bias tape to go to finish the neckline and the bottom of the sleeves and maybe along the hem, but that might be too much. It might be too bordery, matchy. I don't want that. So yeah, I've only got these 2 scraps, so I'm just cutting as much as I can. Okay, I redid the front and back of the shirt. I tweaked the paper pattern based on all those little adjustments I'd made on the previous muslin. Then I laid it out. I cut this muslin, and it feels good. It feels like the fit is just enough around my bust, but not too tight. I can get it on and off over my head. And I did something, I sewed the sleeve on inside out. But then I looked at it, I was going to fix it, and then it doesn't matter. It's just the muslin. I looked at the trim thing that's happening there with the seam, and I kind of like it. I don't want to do a raw open seam with linen, but I'm thinking I'll gather it so that there's a little, what do I want to say? I don't even know the word. A little ruffle. How about that? Ruffle along the seam edge that sticks up. I just think that might be a nice texture thing. So I believe I am ready to, just trying to see with the camera mounted. Can you see it? Yeah, I will turn. I believe I am ready to cut the fabric. Nervous. Here it is. I think, I don't have all the money in the world to do this, to buy fabric, to buy patterns. And so when you spend a lot of money on fabric, I don't know about you, but I get tense about it. And I'm like, it has to be perfect, the thing I'm making. If I screw it up, well, this is not brain surgery. It's fine. If I screw it up, it's okay. It's all right. I'm speaking to myself. It's all right. I'm speaking to myself in the mirror. It's okay. All right, here we go. Let's dive in the pool. Okay, I've got it laid out. You have the front bodice and back bodice that I made, the upper sleeve from the Teo Boho shirt, and the lower sleeve from the Teo Boho shirt. The only problem here is that this is going the wrong way in terms of the pattern and the grain. This piece should be going this way. I don't have enough fabric, as you can see on the end here, to do that. So you could also, it's got a line to cut it on the bias. I'm not going to do that. So the only solution would be to cut it out of a different fabric. I don't really want to do that. The pattern's going to be a little different. It's going to be vertical on this part of the sleeve and horizontal on this part of the sleeve, but it's gathered, it's loose. I'm not that worried about it. So I think I'm just going to go forward. This has 3 inches cut off because for this pattern, there's a cuff and it wants it to be bunched around the bottom of the cuff. But since I'm not doing that, it was way too long. So that's why that's folded over. Okay, I'm going to cut. A couple things I just became aware of. One is I cut it out with the wrong side up. I'm not sure why. If anyone knows, maybe they could tell me. Most patterns, instructions have you cut with the right side up. And in this case, this pattern's so simple. There's not a problem with it. I don't know why I keep I don't know what happened, but the flowers should be red, and on the wrong side the flowers are brown. And you can see that the thread, I can see, maybe you can't, isn't the finished thread. Anyway, figured that out. Also, this bias tape that I was making with the linen is just so flimsy that I've lost my confidence in it. So I have this black bias tape and I'm just pinning it on here. It's so much stiffer than the linen. I don't know, is that going to be a regrettable choice? I don't know. And I don't think there's any way to know until I actually do it. Also, I'm thinking through, do I put it on? Well, I'm thinking I put it on now before I sew the back and the front together. And then it can be hidden in the shoulder seams. The ends can be hidden in the shoulder seams rather than having a visible end. Hello. I've been away from the project for a day and I have been just thinking about that pre-made bias tape, and it just felt really wrong. Just the texture, the quality, all of it was so stiff. I wasn't sure how I was going to wash with this. So I still have a bit of black linen. So I remade the bias tape a lot thicker so that I could, fold both the ends in, then fold it in half, and it's still about a 1/2 inch wide. And I like this so much better. It just is matching the quality of the shirt. The other option, of course, is that I just do a facing out of the red linen and it's on the inside and it's a clean neckline. I don't think I have enough black linen to also do the sleeve, so it may be just the neck that gets the trim, and then I do that nice sleeve detail with the turning up the seam with the gathering. So many choices. All right, I'm gonna meditate on this a little longer and I'll be back. I decided to go ahead and attach the larger linen bias tape that I made. I've got the bias tape on both necklines and my label on the back inside, and now I'm going to sew the shoulders together and then the side seams. I am using French seams on the inside to keep everything clean, and because there's so much fraying with the linen. So that means sewing the wrong sides together first, very close to the edge, then pressing the seam flat, and then sewing the right sides together. The next step is the side seams. I will also be doing French seams. After I sew the wrong sides together, there's all these threads sticking out, again, because the linen frays so much, so I'm trimming them here, so when I put the right sides together, there are no threads sticking out. All right, I'm checking the fit, and I really like it. See the neckline? I think it's working. I just love the way this fabric falls and the way it feels. Okay, I've got the French seams on the inside, if you can see that. So everything's really clean. I am going to start on the sleeves. I'm doing an overlock stitch along the raw edges of the lower sleeve and upper sleeve where I'm going to be sewing them together. I'm not sure what I'm doing yet, pleats, or like I said, maybe a ruffle, but I think it's going to be too bulky to do the French seam, so I'm finishing the raw edges this way. I decided to try sewing that very thin linen bias tape that I made along the bottom edge of the lower sleeve so it will look nice and finished. This is the problem. It's so small. I was sewing on this side and I thought I was getting everything in there, but there's 3 places here now on this side that are not right. So the question is, do I just pull all this out and just give it a hem? I don't know, I like this. I have to say I like this. I think what I'm gonna try is pull these places out that got messed up and re-sew them and see how I feel about that. Okay, I am struggling to see the black threads on the black linen and not pull the linen threads, but pull the thread, the sewing thread. Hi, it's the next day. I had to walk away from that bias tape, that linen bias tape that I made yesterday because I was driving me nuts. But I came back to it today. I pulled out the problem areas. I really like it. And, you know, I like the thinness of it, and I don't have any more black linen to make a thicker version. And there's something, maybe this is an excuse, but there's something about the kind of roughness of the linen, the kind of rawness, that having some imperfections here is not driving me nuts. It's not crisp, it's not perfectly clean. So I'm going with it. And I was messing around with the bottom half of the sleeve and I did box pleats. It's like a little curtain. And I think it looks kind of cool. So I need to attach to the top part of the sleeve, then attach the sleeve to the armhole, and I'm almost there. So, but I haven't done the second sleeve bias tape. So what I did with this one, I'll hold it up close, hopefully it'll focus, is I sewed down the folded sides first. So I'm hoping by sewing those down and then sewing it onto the sleeve, it'll work. I'll let you know. Patience, right? That's 2025. I said that in my last video. Patience. I have to say, I am enjoying making up this shirt as I go and like changing my mind about things and that creativity. I mean, that's what I've been working toward. It's these last few years is like making my own stuff the way I envision it. So this has been fun. That second bias tape on the other sleeve that I pre-sewed down the edges went on so much easier. Here I am sewing down the pleats before I sew the sleeve top and bottom together. And now I am sewing the 2 pieces of the sleeve together, just a regular seam. As I said, I finished the raw edges with overlock stitch. I'm sewing the sleeve seam with a French seam, and then I attach both sleeves also using a French seam. Last step, I folded the hem over twice, pressed it, and now I'm sewing it. And I'm done. I am so happy with the way this turned out, especially after all that experimentation. It feels great on. I think the fit looks great. The grain being in a different direction on the bottom part of the sleeve, not an issue at all, I don't think. I'm just pleased. I could continue experimenting with this made-up pattern. This is my maximalist vision for this shirt. I love those two things together, actually. I'll probably primarily wear it with jeans, but I wanted to show you some other ideas. I think it also looks great with these black pants. Well, thank you so much for following along and watching, and please like the video and subscribe, and I will be back soon with another project.